Coming up, we're going to talk about a latest report that some superstars, some former WWE superstars, were surprised that they made it into the game. Let's deep dive the news for you today on the show. Let's go. Some wrestlers were surprised that they were in WWE 2K22. This is the second bit of news I want to talk to you all about today, and this is coming over from Fifo Select. Go subscribe to Fifo Select, give you all the latest news, the early drops, all that stuff, the early access. It's fantastic. Fifo Select notes the following. The WWE 2K22 roster reveal ahead of its release earlier this year caught some people by surprise. Caught me by surprise too, because it was not great. It was okay, but there were people missing. Fightful has spoken to several members of the WWE 2K22 roster that have been released along the way since they were scanned in. None of them that we spoke to were informed explicitly ahead of the announcement that they'd be included in the game, but some caught wind of it days prior. We've spoken to numerous wrestlers who weren't told outright that they'd be getting paid for it, but to, quote, expect something later this year. So this is kind of sticky, and I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and hit the like button if you enjoy the episodes here. It's kind of sticky because you have former wrestlers, former WWE stars that were scanned in, that were in the game. They are in this game. And when they were released right before the game came out, around development time, they weren't being told if they were going to be in the game or not. Now I have to believe, I'm only speculating, but I have to believe that that's coming down to WWE not being sure if they're going to include them, if they care to include them or not in the video game. But it's kind of messy because the contracted wrestlers are not being explicitly told whether or not they're going to be getting paid for being in the game, for having their likeness in the game. But this is tricky too because WWE likes to keep control over all of that stuff in terms of the IP, having the brand name in there. Your Braun Strowman, for example, is a WWE name, a WWE superstar. So I don't know the inner workings of all of that, but I don't like hearing, according to Fightful, that they're not sure if they were going to get paid and that they might be getting paid or they should expect something later in the year. So I hope that everybody that is in the game that was released is getting paid for being in the video game. Because as we've heard reports in the past from Sports Gamer Online and others, they are getting paid for being in the video game when they are scanned in. For so many, it's part of their contract negotiation that they would be included, but not knowing the details of all the inner workings, it's hard to say. Fightful continues to say, in addition, we've also heard the same that Mike Straw of SGO reported earlier this year that WWE specifically wanted Bray Wyatt removed from the game. This piece here is interesting, right? Because you have Bray Wyatt, you have the Fiend character, who by all reports and accounts was slated to be a big focal point in 2K22, because we know of all of the leaked dialogue, we know of the Fiend character, all of the attires, everything is there. They just took him physically out of the game. He was supposed to be a big component of the My Rise mode. There was a storyline all created, all centered around this. But WWE wanted him specifically removed from the game upon his release. I find that interesting. What about you? It's interesting to me because why single out that one character, that one superstar? Also, the Fiend character, it's him in a mask. Like, it's not Bray Wyatt, and you're just having this monster character in the game. I don't know why WWE would not want him in the game. Maybe it was an issue with the recorded dialogue and the storylines, or that you were going to get different versions of Bray Wyatt in the game and they didn't want that. It's hard to know for sure, but it's interesting that WWE, according to the report, that they wanted him gone from the game, but they didn't care to remove other stars from the game. Maybe it comes down, and again, I'm speculating here, but maybe it comes down to timing. Maybe on 2K's end, they didn't have the time and the resources to reshuffle everything and get all of these stars, these release stars, removed from the game. Maybe it was a little bit of back and forth negotiation to discuss, hey, if you want to be able to get certain stars out, who is on the top of the list that you don't want in the game that has been released by the company? Because we have Braun Strowman in there, like I said. You have other stars, big name stars that are still in the video game. And you have some that are removed, like a Bray Wyatt or like a Bobby Fish, for example, or an Adam Cole. They're not in the game. I just don't really see the point of trying to remove one star, one former star. It's not like he's running around using Bray Wyatt or the Fiend gimmick in any other promotion in any other capacity. So if you're WWE, you almost hurt your own product. You hurt your video game because fans just want to be able to play as the Fiend and play as Bray Wyatt. Now, the final note that Fightful Select has here is regarding the Hit Row. AJ Francis of Hit Row told us that they were close to being scanned into the game, but they were released before they could be added, although he wanted to be part of it regardless of being released. And this is another case where, yeah, I wish that we were able to get Hit Row in the game. They were in NXT for a spell. Then when they got brought up to main roster, boom, they were let go after one appearance on SmackDown. So it's unfortunate that we couldn't get Hit Row in the game, and they just weren't scanned in time to make the cut. Let me know your thoughts on the report here from Fightful, specifically Bray Wyatt being removed from the game. And if you want more updates on WWE 2K22, click this episode right here. See ya.